pump out an action movie within 2 years with a light story that everybody can follow, and let's just try to make as much money as possible again. And they did it. They pulled it off, but in our list, it's not going to be anywhere near GoldenEye, where all of the comments that we got for GoldenEye, I'm looking at them going, did you guys watch the same movie? And in my headcanon for that night, it's almost as if all these dudes were accidentally commenting on the Tomorrow Never Dies thread. Everything they wrote about, I'm like, are you talking about GoldenEye or Tomorrow Never Dies? It sounds like you're talking about Tomorrow Never Dies. Nikolai said that Pierce Brosnan's performance isn't very good. And with this, it's like, it's the same, but there's no substance there. So it is a little more eh.
He's definitely better in GoldenEye than this one.
Yeah, you don't get that. You don't get subtle moments like when, he looks down and he says, not our best hour, or when like anything between him and Trevelyan. Like, you don't get
when
any
he
of
kills
those.
the assassin guy, like, that's a good moment for Pierce.
Oh, yeah, it's badass, but it doesn't. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Nikolai was saying, he's very monotone for a lot of it, doesn't show a lot of range. Blastoise had said, when the action does arrive, it's nonstop with no time to breathe. There's just no intrigue. It's very much point A to B, trying to tie all the set pieces together as fast as possible so the ADD generation doesn't get bored. That's not GoldenEye. That's this movie. That is this movie.
Yeah.
He says Judi Dench's M never got the right chemistry with Bond until Craig came along, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's not true.
There was a purpose to his dialogue with M in the last movie.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur.
With this, M's fine, but M is just Basil Exposition in this.
Hello, Austin. I'm Basil Exposition with British Intelligence.
I'm sending you to Hamburg, 007. We've arranged for you to be invited tonight to a party at Carver's Media Center.
We have just received word that Dr. Evil is planning a trap for you tonight at the Electric Psychedelic Pussycat Swingers Club here in swinging London.
We'll be there.
Austin, it's a swinging shindig.
It's my happening, baby, and it freaks me out. Yeah, man!
There's nothing deep about it. She's just performing her
She
function.
stands up for him and like the let's not just go blowing stuff up.
She gets the one quip with balls.
With all due respect, Tim, sometimes I don't think you have the balls for this job.
Perhaps. But the advantage is I don't have to think with them all the time.
What's he doing?
What the hell is he doing?
His job.
I like that. That's some classic Bernard Lee M action there. I think it was Blastoise that was saying this, that GoldenEye was the movie that introduced one-man army Bond. And I'm like, nah, dude, it's this movie. This movie. Because GoldenEye scenes where it looks like one-man army Bond, there are certain elements at play that justify it. Whereas with this, Bond has his own little commando scene in the opening where Bond isn't running away from the bazaar. He eventually is escaping. But first he has to go into the bazaar and just start blowing everything up and nobody can stop him. That's one-man army Bond, right? It's cool. I think the prologue is cool. It's cool. Yeah. But that is one-man army Bond. And then in the ending, that's one-man army Bond as well because it's like, again, in GoldenEye, Bond goes in to sabotage Alex's operation, immediately gets captured, and then with the exploding pen manages to still pull it off and run away. This is one man going in and having his own commando scene where he kills 100 guys just like shooting and blowing shit up. And Bond uses the exact same strategy, which is go in, plant a bomb, and then at the opportune moment, blow the bomb as a distraction to then kill everybody. But in GoldenEye, Alec Trevelyan knew better and shut that down. But then in this, Bond actually makes good on it.
Just breach the hull. They're going to see us on radar.
And fine, whatever, fair. But then it's just followed by double-wielding, shooting, chaos, craziness, big dumb action movie.
Kill those bastards!
I think the prologue immediately sets the tone of big dumb action movie. Again, it's one-man army Bond who, like, I love the idea of putting Bond in a position where he has no choice but to go for the bombs. He can't just get out of there. He has to go in there.
Those are Soviet SP-5 nuclear torpedoes.
There's enough plutonium to make Chernobyl look like a picnic.
But he doesn't do it in like a smart way. He does it in a big dumb action movie way. He just starts blowing everything up.
Just immediately punches that guy in the face after lighting a cigarette. instead of just like trying to sneak by.
Well, that too. There are 2 times in the movie where he goes to light a cigarette for a guy, and the second one's my favorite. I adore the moment where he just. And the guy's like, oh! It's great. But the first one, I wish he would have done the same thing in the first one where he just like does the hands thing. Like I would have loved if he would have done the same thing. The guy looks at him weird because that introduction to Bond, it doesn't have the same care and craft that Martin Campbell put into the introduction of Bond in GoldenEye. Again, in the smarter version of the script, the 2 cigarette instances would have been the same thing, and Bond would have just punched the guy in the face without a lighter and then snuck his way onto the jet and then started shooting everybody. So it really communicates something specific, which is that in the second instance, Bond does something smart. He doesn't have a lighter on him, so he tricks the guy to take him out. He could have done that in the opening, but then we wouldn't have the goofy gadget that immediately telegraphs that this is going to be a goofy Bond movie with a bunch of gadgets.
It's very gadget heavy. It is very gadget heavy. I think they saw GoldenEye and they really doubled down on the gadgetry in this film.
And
whereas,
they're cool gadgets, like Nancy said. They're cool.
Yeah, they're nothing lame. Like, what was it in For Your Eyes Only, where you had like the bullshit glasses and like, or was it A View to Kill? I can't remember. The View to Kill, he had some bullshit glasses.
The worst gadget of all time is polarized glasses.
But I will say, the dumbest thing I thought was in this movie was the walking down the walls thing. I thought that was kind of dumb.
She's like,
like I feel like that was the filmmakers being like, well, we have to recognize Mission Impossible because it also did really well in 1995. Yeah. And, and like that was their attempt to do it, but it's kind of lame. And she's just like, hi. And I'm like, if you're in that situation, the first thing any of the bad guys are going to do is just start shooting.
That was when James Bond fell in love with her. Okay, so we've got the lighter grenade and the sticky grenade from the opening.
Okay.
We have the cell phone that's got the stun gun and the fingerprint thing, and it drives his car.
That's cool.
We have got the watch detonator that's got like the little sonic thing that breaks the jar at the end.
Okay.
And then Chinese stuff. We have like a Chinese Q scene almost where Bond's going through all their
I've always been a fan of Chinese technology.
He's like, oh, it's the same. He's like, that same watch.
This looks familiar.
We've made some improvements.
Because it's China, and they basically take any American product and they make a cheaper version of it that you can go and buy.
I was trying to figure out what that was. I thought it was like a gadget he had in a previous movie that did the same thing or something.
Yeah, he's basically telling her, he's like, oh wait, I've seen this before. This is Omega watch that Q made. But you guys made a ripoff of it.
Yeah.
I love Pierce's reaction to the flame-throwing dragon thing, though.
Yeah.
It's like, seems really like he was actually surprised on set or something.
That's like how Remington Steele would have reacted to that.
Visible to radar, but not the human eye. Very novel.